At first glance, what we're seeing in southeastern Ukraine looks like the beginning of another counteroffensive. Small settlements are changing hands, Russian infiltration groups are being cleared. Ukrainian assault units, supported by armored vehicles and drones, are pushing forward in localized sectors. To many observers, this appears to be the start of a larger effort to reclaim significant territory. But that's not what this is. What we are witnessing is something far more calculated. This is not a breakthrough strategy designed to rapidly retake vast areas of occupied land. It is a battlefield engineering strategy, and it may define the entire course of 2026. Modern warfare runs on connectivity, satellite communication, drone feeds, encrypted command channels, real-time artillery correction. All of these systems form the nervous system of a contemporary army. When those systems degrade, coordination begins to fracture. Units lose situational awareness, artillery becomes slower to respond. Drone operators struggle to relay targeting data. Small assault groups lose contact with command. In recent months, multiple open-source reports and battlefield assessments have suggested serious disruptions in Russian communications across parts of the southern front. Some Russian military bloggers have acknowledged coordination problems and navigation failures in contested areas. Whether due to electronic warfare, countermeasures, signal tracking, or other technical factors, the degradation of stable connectivity in specific sectors has created vulnerabilities. In modern combat, losing reliable communications does not just slow momentum, it isolates units, and isolated units become targets. Over the past year, Russia adapted its tactics after suffering heavy losses in large-scale mechanized assaults. Instead of mass armored pushes, infiltration became a preferred method in several sectors. Small groups moved through tree lines, riverbanks, abandoned villages, and industrial zones. These groups aimed to stretch Ukrainian defensive lines, create confusion, and establish footholds inside contested strips of land. The result was the expansion of so-called gray zones, areas not fully controlled by either side. These zones are dangerous because they create uncertainty. They allow ambushes. They blur the front line and complicate artillery targeting. They force defenders to allocate manpower across unstable sectors. Ukraine's recent operations in the southeast are focused precisely on eliminating these gray zones. Instead of attempting a dramatic deep offensive, Ukrainian forces are clearing infiltration pockets, stabilizing front lines, and redefining control boundaries. This is not about spectacle, it is about clarity. Once gray zones disappear, the battlefield becomes defined, and defined front lines can be fortified. Many analysts might ask, if Russian coordination is weakened in certain sectors, why not launch a large-scale counteroffensive right now? The answer is manpower and sustainability. Even if quality fluctuates, Russia still maintains substantial troop presence across occupied territories. Large offensive operations require significant reserves, heavy logistics, and acceptance of high casualties. Attempting a rapid breakthrough against layered artillery belts and defensive positions could result in losses that Ukraine cannot easily replace. Attrition warfare favors the defender, especially when the defender builds intelligently. Rather than gambling manpower on a sweeping offensive, Ukraine appears to be shaping terrain. Since 2025, Ukrainian defensive doctrine has evolved. Instead of relying solely on continuous trench lines, engineers began constructing defensive nodes. Interconnected underground shelters, reinforced positions, protected communication corridors, anti-armor barriers, layered minefields, and pre-sighted artillery grids. The principle is straightforward. Channel attacking forces into predictable corridors and destroy them with drones and artillery. When attackers are funneled through choke points, their mobility decreases. When mobility decreases, vulnerability increases. When vulnerability increases, casualty ratios shift. This approach multiplies defensive efficiency. Lessons from earlier phases of the war reinforced this shift. In some southern sectors, defensive preparations before major offensives were incomplete. Rapid advances forced Ukrainian units to withdraw to secondary positions that were not fully fortified. The cost of insufficient preparation became clear. The difference now is tempo control. Ukraine is attempting to stabilize sectors before a new offensive wave can gain momentum. It is not reacting to breakthroughs, it is preempting them. Reports frequently cite figures in the hundreds of thousands regarding Russian personnel deployed across occupied territories. Numbers alone do not guarantee operational success. Training cycles, morale, coordination, logistics, and command cohesion all influence battlefield effectiveness. In prolonged attritional warfare, quality degradation compounds over time. If offensive waves repeatedly collide with fortified defensive zones integrated with FPV drones, precision artillery, and layered obstacles, casualty accumulation accelerates. Over months, that changes strategic calculations. The southeastern axis remains strategically critical. Control in this region influences logistical corridors, access routes toward key urban centers, and stability of the broader southern front. If a renewed offensive is planned for summer operations, these sectors are likely to be focal points. By clearing gray zones now, Ukraine is buying time to fortify them. Trenches can be deepened, obstacles can be laid. Defensive nodes can be interconnected, drone kill chains can be optimized. Artillery sectors can be pre-registered. The transformation from contested strip to engineered defense zone is the real objective. One of the defining features of recent fighting has been the integration of drones into every level of operations. Low-cost FPV drones have altered tactical engagement. When combined with fortified choke points, drones become force multipliers. An armored vehicle halted by a mine becomes a stationary target. An infantry squad slowed by obstacles becomes exposed to aerial surveillance and rapid strike. The shortening of kill chains, the time between detection and engagement, favors prepared defenders. What we are seeing is not a rush toward dramatic symbolic victories, it is a long war mindset. Ukraine appears to be trading speed for endurance, spectacle for structural advantage. If Russia launches renewed assaults into fortified terrain, advances may be measured in meters while losses accumulate steadily. Industrial-scale attrition does not produce cinematic breakthroughs. It produces grinding stalemates where preparation outweighs aggression. The critical variable will be sustainability. Ammunition supplies, Western military assistance, manpower regeneration, logistics resilience, and air power balance will shape outcomes. Fortifications alone do not guarantee victory. But fortifications integrated with drones, artillery, and disciplined defensive doctrine dramatically increase the cost of offense. The psychological shift may be just as important as the physical one. Earlier in the war, survival dominated planning. Now, the emphasis appears to be on engineered advantage, constructing conditions under which offensive operations fail before they succeed. This is strategic patience. Instead of asking how much territory can be retaken this month, the question becomes how costly every future advance can be made for the attacker. In attritional warfare, imposing unsustainable costs often matters more than dramatic maneuvers. What is happening in southeastern Ukraine is not a sudden surge. It is a controlled
Perimeter clear.
stabilization
Drone
effort
feed looks
designed to
stable.
convert
Roger that.
uncertainty
Map
into
confirms
structure.
no contacts.
It is the
Visual on the
methodical
horizon.
elimination
All
of gray
quiet.
space. It is the preparation of hardened corridors where momentum can be absorbed and reversed. If these fortifications are completed before large-scale assaults begin, 2026 may not be defined by sweeping offensives.
Enemy activity
It may be defined
increasing.
by
Hold
whether prepared
position.
defenses
Visual
turn
on
attacking
target.
waves into stalled
Coordinates
advances.
confirmed.
The strategic initiative in such a scenario does not belong to the side moving forward. It belongs to the side that prepared the ground. And right now, preparation appears to be the priority.